Jealousy is a common and normal human emotion that is felt by so many people. It has been around for centuries. Shakespeare even referred to the emotion as the green-eyed monster. Jealousy can occur in numerous parts of life, and today we will be discussing the numerous ways in which it affects our relationships with siblings, partners, how social media affects our relationships, and the good and bad types of jealousy.
When you first hear the word jealousy, most people automatically think of bad situations that are related to jealousy. People relate jealousy to being hurt or having fights with whoever the other person in the relationship is. But what if I told you that there's also good types of jealousy? You must be saying to yourself, what do you mean that there are good types of jealousy? I thought being jealous was a bad thing. Well, in certain situations, jealousy could be bad, but there could also be times where jealousy strengthens a relationship. Let me explain. Bad jealousy is mainly linked to people who are insecure or that are in an insecure relationship. Bad jealousy is also related to aggression and violence when it is at its worst. In Mark Attrey's article, he cites Mullen, Wilson, and Daly by saying that extreme jealousy, called pathological or morbid jealousy, has been observed in some homicidal crimes of passion. But all of this is the worst case scenario for jealousy. On the other hand, there are good types of jealousy. Mark Attridge also states, in their literature review, Harris and Darby concluded, despite its destructive side, jealousy also may have some positive effects for individuals and relationships. For example, it alerts one to relationship threats and can motivate behaviors that protect the relationship. To explain it more clearly, good jealousy acts as a sort of reverse psychology. When a partner of any relationship tries to avoid or prevent the other person from feeling jealous, they try to be closer to that person, which makes the relationship stronger. This also leads to greater feelings of love for their partner. This same way of thinking can also be shown in Sahana and Gantz's article when they state, breaking down jealousy into its different types, it was found that relationship closeness was positively associated with emotional jealousy and negatively associated with suspicious jealousy. This proves that jealousy can also be good. It is explaining how with emotional jealousy brings a relationship closer by showing the other partner how much they are affected by them. So as you could see, there is such thing as good jealousy. Bad jealousy can be shown through aggression and violence, while good jealousy is related to bringing the relationship closer. Even though we associate jealousy with being a bad feeling, we can still use jealousy to bring relationships closer, and they can be seen in all types of relationships.
Sibling jealousy. What it is, why does it happen, how is it displayed? What is it, and what do we know about it? So sibling jealousy represents the complexity of family dynamics in contributing to and explaining emotional expression and its regulation. Basically what this means is that a family within itself is already a very complex and hard to understand dynamic due to the amount of people and how things are resolved and how things are expressed. So jealousy is just one aspect of that complicated dynamic that helps explain that emotional expression between siblings, especially in this case. So sibling jealousy is the perception that a parent is providing different treatment towards the other sibling. They are showing favoritism. It is something that the attention is off of one sibling and onto another in a way that the other sibling never experienced. So it's obvious that parents cannot attend both children at once. They cannot, or at least not give the same attention that the children want to both children at the same time. And that is exactly why jealousy between siblings can become a daily activity very quickly. It is also very pervasive, and it's easily activated among younger siblings. So not only is it frequent in siblings, this jealousy, it is also the most powerful jealousy of the youth. So as we mentioned in this PowerPoint and in previous subtopics, there is jealousy through social media. There is jealousy among romantic relationships. There is friendship jealousy. But sibling jealousy is the most powerful jealousy, and that is because it is a love-based relationship. Two siblings are bound through love, a sibling love that is so powerful that the jealousy is also very powerful. Many times it is jealousy due to attention from a parent, and we all know that parents play a very important role in our lives. Also, siblings' interactions can be a major factor in one's personality formation. Therefore, if a sibling is always jealous of another sibling, or the other sibling is causing jealousy towards the other sibling, feelings of lower self-esteem, not enough self-worth, can be personality traits that the sibling that is receiving the jealousy can in their future put upon themselves. Unresolved sibling jealousy can also lead to negative outcomes in the future. This can lead to rivalry or externalizing behavioral problems between siblings, and that is when siblings start getting physical, when they start getting mad at each other, when they start showing negative traits towards the other sibling, things that are not love, that are not support. So sibling jealousy is an interpersonal and intrapersonal phenomenon. It is interpersonal because it involves two or more people that are communicating between each other. And it is intrapersonal because the jealousy starts within yourself. The sibling picks when he is jealous of the other sibling. It is an internal feeling, and it is provoked differently for each sibling. It has different triggers for each sibling. So, along with it being an interpersonal phenomenon comes the theory of the social triangle, which states that no jealous act can happen without three people or three relations. So in our case of sibling jealousy, we have the jealous child, we have the rival child, which is who the sibling is jealous of, and then we have the beloved parent. However, that beloved parent can change as the siblings grow older. A sibling jealousy shown in adulthood will still include the jealous child and the rival child, but the third party can be a romantic relationship. It can be a friend, or it can simply be an object. But the theory states that no jealous act can happen without three people or three relations. So, like I just said, it takes three people to have a jealous act. And it's also due to the relationship between those three people and between one another. So, the relationship between the jealous individual and the beloved. How is the jealous child in terms with their, for example, mom? Are they close? Is the mom good to the child? Do they have a good relationship? That will influence how strong the jealousy from the child is. The relationship between the beloved and the rival. How is the relationship between the rival child and the mom good? Does the mom tend to pick on the rival child more often than the jealous child? And then obviously the relationship between the jealous individual and the rival. Now, siblings can be very close and still feel jealous, or siblings can not be close, and that can be the cause of the jealousy. So whether the relationship is good between the siblings or whether it is bad, both have the capability of causing jealousy between them. So the relationships between each person is very important and makes how the jealousy will be portrayed. So why does jealousy occur? Well, as mentioned earlier, jealousy occurs because It is the perception that the parent is showing favoritism or is treating the other sibling differently than the jealous sibling. The child that is jealous, they feel threatened, or they feel that they are losing the attention of the parent to the other sibling. Now, how the siblings will react has an influence on 4 factors: the child's gender, himself or herself, the age between the 2 siblings, the gender composition of the siblings, whether it is a boy and a girl sibling, or 2 girls that are siblings, or 2 boys that are siblings, and of course the birth order, whether it is a younger child being jealous of the older child, or the older child being jealous of the younger child, or we have the situations of the middle child being jealous of both the older and the younger. These 3 factors have a major influence on how siblings will react once this jealousy occurs, once this act of favoritism, once this act of giving attention to the other sibling occurs. How strong it will be depends on those 4 factors. So what are the causes that some siblings get jealous? Many researchers have asked this, and they have come up with 4 causes. The first one is attention through gifts. Mom buys Mary new boots, even though Kelly has been talking about wanting new boots all last week. Kelly will be jealous of Mary because the mom gave Mary new boots, something that she wanted, a physical object that she wanted but didn't get. The second one is favoritism and conflict. John broke the dishes while washing them, but Natalie got yelled for it. There is a conflict between John and the broken dishes, but maybe mom thinks that John is the angel child or prefers John over Natalie. Therefore, the mom will pick John and not yell at him, but will choose to yell at Natalie. Favoritism and conflict was also stated by Thompson to be one of the most frustrating causes that a sibling can be jealous, because it is coming from the beloved point and it is showing favoritism, which can many times lower self-worth from the jealous child. Individual time spent with one child. Dad took me to the baseball game and said it was a son-father bonding time. Dad specifically took one sibling but not the other to a baseball game. The other child might feel left out, might feel that the dad doesn't love him as much, and therefore will be jealous of the extra time spent with the dad that the other sibling gets. The last one is attention due to talent. I hate Thanksgiving because all my parents talk about is Stephanie and how Stephanie is great because she won her dance competition and is a better dancer. Attention due to talent is simply when a sibling gets attention from either a family member, a friend, a relative that is circled around their talents that maybe the other sibling simply does not portray, and maybe they have other talents, but in that moment the attention is being drawn on the other sibling's talent, and the jealous sibling is jealous that they do not portray those talents within themselves. So here we have an example of a video that shows favoritism and attention through gifts between 2 siblings. The brother got a laptop simply because he got honor roll, but both the sister and him have honor roll. So that is already showing favoritism because the mom chose to give the brother the laptop but not the sibling. And then they have an exchange of words saying that, well, then we know who's the favorite child, which can be implied that favoritism and attention through gifts is being shown between this interaction of siblings. So finally, how do siblings show jealousy? This can differ between due to the ages of the siblings. Toddlers and younger children show it through distress, sadness, anger, and physical intrusions. They start crying, they start stomping their feet, they start yelling. Anything that they can do to grab the attention back. Many times this is because a mom is maybe playing with the other sibling. So the sibling that is not being played with or not being attended to will scream, will yell, will shake their hands in the air just to get the attention of the mom back on them. Physical intrusions, we see it many times when kids come up to their mom, to their dad, pull on their sweater, hit their leg, tap their shoulder. They are physically touching the adult or the parent to get their attention back. Young adults and adults portray jealousy a little bit differently. They use the tactic of avoidance, passive strategy. If the sibling is jealous, they just simply won't talk to them. They'll walk past them as if they don't exist. Denial. We saw it also in the video clip between the sibling interaction of texts. The sister goes, "You're clearly wrong," when the brother stated that he is the favorite child. She is in denial that maybe that's potentially true. Young adults are also more developed. They can use sarcasm to fight back their jealousy, or many times it leads to violent exchange of words, physical violence, verbal threats, or being violent to objects around. It all depends on the age of the child. Sibling jealousy happens between all siblings, whether the relationship is good or bad. It happens throughout the entire lifespan. It is simply the lack of attention on one sibling and more attention on the other sibling. It is handled in many different ways. Every sibling reacts differently to jealousy. Every sibling sees jealousy in a different way and might not see one form of attention important, but the other one does. It all comes down to the personality of the sibling, the relationship between the three individuals in the situation, and how they decide to handle it.
Jealousy in romantic relationships. We'll be discussing the definition of jealousy, what's known about jealousy, what researchers have asked about jealousy, what researchers found, some existing theories, and then a conclusion. First, we must clarify the difference between jealousy and envy, and these findings are from White 2008. Theoretically, there are differences between jealousy and envy, but with jealousy in romantic relationships, the jealous person may envy the supposed romantic relationship between two others, as well as want to possess the affection of a partner. Envy is the desire to possess something, such as a possession or trait of another, often coupled with the feelings of inferiority or hostility towards the possessor. Jealousy is the desire to have the actual thing or attribute that is possessed by another. Jealousy is usually coupled with threat of loss of self-esteem of a real or imagined relationship. Next, we're going to define romantic jealousy. Many authors have similar definitions of romantic jealousy. Some authors even use the same definition as one another. The most universal definition of romantic jealousy amongst authors is the cognitions, emotions, and behaviors that follow a loss or threat to self-esteem and or existence or quality of a romantic relationship. Such threat is generated by the perception of a real or imagined romantic attraction between one's partner and a perhaps imaginary rival. What we know. There is both cognitive jealousy and emotional jealousy. Cognitive jealousy is an individual's thoughts, worries, and suspicions regarding the partner's possible relationship with a rival. Emotional jealousy
is an array of feelings such as insecurity, fear, anger, and sadness. Same-sex and opposite-sex romantic relationships share more similarities than differences. Romantic partners, regardless of their sexual orientation or sex, experience jealousy at similar levels of intensity. Bevan and Lanuti, 2002. What We Know continued. White, 2008, says that romantic jealousy is a troublesome and often complicated interpersonal and intrapersonal event. White, 2008, also says that romantic jealousy is a common problem in the clinical experience of therapists, as well as a major problem for the clients. Bevan and Samter, 2004, say that romantic jealousy is a protective reaction to a perceived threat to a valued relationship. Some questions researchers have asked are there sex differences in jealousy? What evokes jealousy? How is jealousy expressed? First, we're going to discuss the research findings of Bevan and Lanuti. Sexual orientation and sex did not significantly influence one's intensity level of cognitive and emotional jealousy. Gay male romantic partners reported using violent communication and threats to express jealousy to a greater extent than males in heterosexual romantic relationships. Bevan and Lanuti state that once romantic jealousy is experienced, it is likely to be expressed in some form to a romantic partner. Now we'll discuss some research findings from White. Therapists indicated that 10.7% of their clients had jealousy as the major presenting problem of their relationships. 23.7% had jealousy as a major problem, and 29.2% had jealousy as a minor problem. Next, White compares jealous females and jealous males. Jealous females are more likely to have both short and long-term depression, blame themselves for the situation, be envious of the rival relationship, try to improve their relationship, try to interfere with the rival relationship, be introspective of the role in the dilemma, physically withdraw from the relationship. Then, jealous males are more likely to show long-term feelings of anger and revenge and try to develop alternative romantic relationships. Now we're just continuing with the research findings of White. Therapists reported that roughly 10% of their clients demonstrated jealousy as the major problem, and another quarter of their clients show jealousy as a major problem. Their data suggests that about 2/3 of therapists' clients experience jealousy within their relationships. Therapists stated that when jealous, men were more likely to be angry and women were more likely to be depressed. Now we'll discuss the research findings of Bevan and Samter from 2004. They found that women hold more suspicions about their partner's motivations than men do. They also found that jealousy is evoked from many situations. Such situations include devoting extra time to work, having a hobby, having a baby, spending time with same-sex friends, spending time with a cross-sex coworker, spending time with family members, having a continuing affair, and having casual sex evoked jealousy. Out of all these scenarios, having a continued affair and having casual sex evoke the strongest jealous responses. Devoting extra time to work and time with family members also elicited moderate to high jealousy reactions. An existing theory comes from White on page 224, and it is the investment model of relationships. The investment model of relationships says that a partner who has more identity and resources invested in the relationship, most likely females, is likely to experience the consequences of threats to the investment, including the consequence of jealousy if the threat is posed by a real or potential rival relationship. What explains why one person may feel jealous when another does not about the same event? White, 2008, says that jealousy is evoked from one or more of the following 6 scenarios. 1. A mutual romantic attraction exists between partner and rival, and the partner is clearly more attracted to the rival. 2. No rival actually or potentially exists. The jealousy is in response to an imagined rival. 3. A mutual romantic attraction exists between partner and a rival, but there is as yet no real relationship. 4. A mutual romantic relationship exists between a partner and a rival, and a relationship exists, but the partner is clearly more attracted to the client. 5. A rival exists who is attracted to the partner, but the partner is not romantically attracted back. And 6. The partner is romantically attracted to a rival, but the rival is not romantically attracted back. Lastly, we will be recapping on what we learned about jealousy. Drawing conclusions. Jealousy differs from envy. Jealousy is fearing someone is a threat or will take what is yours, while envy is wanting what someone else has. Jealousy is very common in romantic relationships. Males and females both experience jealousy, but they are most times expressed differently. And lastly, jealousy is evoked from many different situations and scenarios. Thank you for listening to Jealousy and Romantic Relationships. If you want to look more into the studies that were conducted on jealousy, you can check out the references listed here.
We will be discussing social media jealousy. So, what is being asked about social media and its relation to jealousy? Here are some questions. Does social media make people jealous? Does social media jealousy affect people with low self-esteem more? And how does social media jealousy affect relationship happiness? Jealousy defined. Muse, Christofides, and Desmarias, 2009, use White's definition of jealousy from Jealousy in Partners' Perceived Motives for Attraction to a Rival in 1981 as complex of thoughts, feelings, and actions which follow threats to self-esteem and or threats to the existence or quality of the relationship. Social media and relationships. What we do know about jealousy is that it has a huge effect on relationships. Jealousy in intimate relationships often affects those with low self-esteem more. According to Muse, Christofides, and Desmarias, 2009, feelings of jealousy in a specific situation, such as the imagined situation of a partner's infidelity, are predicted by general levels of emotional jealousy or trait jealousy, suggesting that some individuals are more prone than others to jealousy. As stated, some people are just more likely to be jealous than others. But why? Muse, Christofides, and Desmarias, 2009, continue by stating that individual levels of trust and self-esteem have also been associated with the experience of jealousy, where lower levels of trust are related to more intense and frequent experiences of jealousy, and self-esteem mediates the intensity of jealousy experienced following a relationship threat. If people feel good and have a solid foundation of trust in their relationship, a person is less likely to experience jealousy. Muse, Christofides, and Desmarias conducted a study about Facebook and its effects on jealousy in intimate relationships. The study was an anonymous online survey that was asking college students about Facebook jealousy. Muse, Christofides, and Desmarias, 2009, created a Facebook jealousy scale and began to ask users to rate how jealous they would be in certain situations on a scale of 1 to 7. 1 indicating that they were not likely to be jealous, and 7 indicating that they would be jealous. They found that gender played a large role in Facebook jealousy, women being more jealous than men, and the amount of time someone spent on Facebook daily was also an indicator of how jealous a person would be. Here we see some statistics on jealousy. 60% of college students use Facebook profiles to check up on their partners. People with lower self-esteem experience higher levels of social media jealousy than people with higher self-esteem. And the more time a person spends on social media daily, the more likely they are to experience jealousy related to social media. Is time spent on Facebook increasing jealousy, or is the heightened level of jealousy that may emerge as a result of the information found on a partner's Facebook post resulting in increased time on Facebook? Muse, Christofides, and Desmarias 2009 argue that both can go hand in hand when it comes to Facebook jealousy. Researchers found that on average, women spend more time on social media than men. But they did not indicate how long someone had to be using Facebook on a daily basis to feel this kind of jealousy. They began to ask people in an open-ended format how much time they spent on both their Facebook profiles and also their partner's Facebook profiles. Based on the information provided, the people that had more jealousy-related tendencies were often the ones that spent the most time on social media platforms. Social media and self-esteem. As noted previously, self-esteem does go hand in hand with social media jealousy. In another study conducted by Utz and Buchbaum, 2011, the effects of jealousy and relationship happiness were measured. In their study, they measured relationship happiness of the people being tested on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being a low level of relationship satisfaction and 5 being a high level of relationship satisfaction. Participants were also asked how often they use social media sites, how they use social media sites, such as whether or not they post pictures or whether or not they use it to keep in touch solely with friends and family. These researchers also used the jealousy scale used in the study mentioned previously by Muse, Christofides, and Desmarias 2009, where participants rated their jealousy on a scale of 1 to 7, 1 being low, 7 being high. They also asked participants about whether or not they feel that they themselves are jealous people. The participants' self-esteem was measured based on questions that were asked about themselves. Low self-esteem individuals reported to experience more social networking site jealousy than high self-esteem individuals. These researchers found out that people with high and low self-esteem have varying types of jealousy. People with higher self-esteem were more likely to use social networking sites and were more likely to monitor the behavior of their partners, whereas people with lower self-esteem are more likely to have trait jealousy and a need for popularity, meaning that they want their relationship to appear really well to other people when in reality it could be the complete opposite. People display jealousy in numerous ways, and it can be shown through social media in various ways as well. Some people may monitor their partner's likes, follows, comments, etc., whereas others may compare themselves heavily to others. Although self-esteem impacts jealousy in different ways, people with lower self-esteem are more likely to commit these acts. To conclude, we're going to revisit these questions. So 1. Does social media make people jealous? Social media itself does not provoke jealousy in people. However, as we learned throughout this lecture, the way in which people use social media can determine whether or not they feel some type of jealousy. 2. Does social media jealousy affect people with low self-esteem more? We have learned today that people with lower self-esteem are more likely to be affected by social media jealousy than someone with higher self-esteem. However, self-esteem is not always a determining factor for what someone may be feeling. And 3. How does social media jealousy affect relationship happiness? Today we learned that if someone is in a healthy, loving, and trusting relationship, social media jealousy is less likely to occur. If relationship happiness is not already present, then it will continue to not be present as social media jealousy occurs. Today, we learned about the good types and bad types of jealousy and how they affect our relationships in both positive and negative ways. We also learned about jealousy in sibling relationships and the causes of this type of jealousy. We also learned how common it is to experience jealousy in a relationship with a significant other and how males and females express it differently. And we also learned about the ways in which social media affects our relationships and the way it can affect relationship happiness. Thank you for listening to our presentation.